Call the Code Enforcement Board meeting to order. First thing we'll do, everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd ask that anybody that wants to testify today stand up again and be sworn in at this time.
If you're going to speak, if you'll stand and raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Does anybody have any revisions to the minutes from last month's meeting? Or motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Staff, any revisions for this month's?
Yes. Starting in section 5B, 1B, Phyllis Duffy.
Is your microphone on?
He turned them off because he said the TV wasn't working.
No, you need the microphones on.
Okay.
Duffy.
Can you hear me now? Phyllis Duffy. B is being pulled. There's a new owner, so we've canceled and voided out that citation and reissued to the new owner. C, Betty Smith. She was in last month, if you might recall, and she had asked for extended time to get the permitting in order. She has paid her cost, she has paid her citation, and she has started the permitting process.
Oh, good.
But it's not been finalized, so I told her that we would put her off till next month.
Okay.
She's done everything we've asked. Next one, D, First Choice Healthcare, Dr. Neil A. Barbanel. I think you have the notice on your paper. He requested it be moved. That's all I have.
Okay. Not even one. David?
I have no changes.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman.
All right, I need a motion to adopt the amended agenda, please.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move on to case number 15-CE-1747, Ken Davin.
Mr. Chairman,
One second. We'll call you.
Mr. Chairman, on December 30th, 2015, staff was notified that there was concrete work underway at 1602 36th Avenue. A database search revealed that no permit for a concrete driveway was issued. When at 3:26 p.m., I pulled up to the property and observed at least 4 individuals either screeding concrete or pulling concrete from the cement truck that was there on site. Mr. Davin stated, well, he issued a, well, they report, first of all, they report on a circular driveway and also constructing that driveway, both forming and pouring inside of a right-of-way without the city permit, as well as a building permit for the new construction. I issued a stop work order on the job, spoke with the owner, Ken Davin, who is here this afternoon, on the scope of work and the permitting. Mr. Davin stated he called someone at the county and determined that a permit was not required based on that conversation. No one at the building department recalls informing a caller that a permit was not required for driveway pours. It is standard procedure that a permit is issued for such work. I cited 2 individuals, homeowner Ken Davin for concrete work without a permit and unlicensed contracting, and Jerry Yearwood, who was also here this afternoon for unlicensed contracting. Following our department protocol, I asked for the driver's license of the primary workers. Mr. Davin had declined to produce his license. Mr. Yearwood lost his license that morning and lost his wallet that morning, I believe. And a third worker stated he was asked not to speak to anyone. At this point, staff notified Vero Beach Police Department dispatch, asked for an officer to respond. Officer Schnurr was able to have the driver's license produced, except for Mr. Yearwood, since he lost his billfold. An after-the-fact permit, we did issue a stop work order on the job, and an after-the-fact permit was issued on December 31st, but has not been filed as of today. as of February 9th, yesterday. Mr. Davin and Mr. Yearwood are here to appeal their citations. It should be noted also, and I have not discussed this with Mr. Davin, but he had come in and obtained an owner-builder permit for the driveway that was being done under the conditions of Florida statutes and city and county ordinance of a owner-builder permit. The conditions are that the house must be for his own use and cannot be sold or rented or leased out for a period of 1 year. The house is currently up for sale. I just want to make a note that if the property is sold, we would be back in violation again of that statute. And that completes my case this morning, this
Okay.
afternoon.
Thank you. Mr. Davin, you can step up to the podium. Yep.
And if he has any questions for the officer, he can ask those also.
Okay,
Could you start by giving an address for the record?
Ken Davin, 1602 36th Avenue. On December 29th, and here's a copy of my
And
phone
you were
record.
sworn in, right?
Pardon?
You were sworn in, correct?
Yeah, he was.
Were you sworn in?
Yes, I was. Yes. On December 29th, and I'll pass this around, I called at 1:16 p.m. because the guys that work for me in Knoxville said they were going to come down that night and help me if I wanted to pour part of the driveway. And I had called in, I asked the lady, I said, do I need, if I'm just replacing the concrete on the existing driveway? She said, I don't think so, but you need to talk to an inspector. So I left an extensive message for the inspector. And if I can turn my phone back on, I can let you listen to that message. He called me back the same afternoon and just left me a message. And I told him where I was, what the address was, and all that. And he didn't tell me I needed a permit, so I called back the next morning at 8:57 to return his call. And when I went back to get my permit, they said, well, our phone system wasn't working. I'm like, well, if your phone system, how's that my fault? If your phone system wasn't working, you didn't get the call. But they told me then that Rick was the guy that called me back. And the reason I put my house up for sale is because of all this hassle, and then also I bought another property. I didn't know that I had to that I couldn't sell the house for a year, or I would have got a contractor to pull the permit. But I'm licensed in every trade, but not in Florida. And I've owned the house there for 5 years, and was planning on staying there. And I live there part-time. I don't live there full-time. Anyway, here, I'll pass this around. You can look at the phone records. Right.
So you were repairing an existing driveway?
Yes. Well, we were repairing it, and we decided to just cut it all out because the trees had really destroyed so much of the driveway. And so we started cutting it out and replacing a part of it, and then we ended up cutting the whole thing out. And at the end of the day, we were stopped, and we had to waste a whole truck of concrete. They couldn't find any other place to put it that late in the day. So it cost me an extra complete truck of concrete. And in addition to that, the guys had to stay over, so I had to get them a hotel room. The guys that were helping me, that worked for me in Knoxville, had to stay for another week because the concrete plant wasn't open the next day until the next Monday or Tuesday.
Question.
Oh, yeah.
May I ask a question? I'm a little confused. You said you lived there part-time
Yes.
in that house?
Yes.
How long have you owned the house?
5 years.
And in the last 12 months, how much time have you spent in there?
I mean, my kids and I both come down, off and on all year long.
So it's not your primary residence, basically?
No, it's not my primary
Okay.
residence.
I just wanted to clear that up for the record. Thank you.
David, do you have any questions or rebuttal?
Well, just one question, Mr. Chairman. You said you spoke, if I can address Mr. Davin directly, you said you spoke with a man named Rick. Do we have the name right?
They told me the guy's name was Rick. that was on duty that day.
Okay.
I don't know. I've got a message from him where he called back, if you want to listen to it.
Okay. I remember the conversation because you had explained that to me that there was some issues with the phones there. The question was, did they eventually call back?
No, he never. He said he didn't message the second time. The first message he got and called me back, but left me a message. So then I called him back before we started work the next morning, and I wanted to make sure I didn't need a permit. So I called back, left another message, and he never called back that time. And that's when they said, well, our phones were messed up this morning.
Okay.
I have another question for you. Do you employ these workers on a regular basis?
The workers that are in Knoxville, yes.
The workers that were involved in
Yeah.
this job? You do?
Yes.
Could you tell me who told one of the workers not to provide identity and why that was done?
No, I said until we find out what's going on, you're not driving, I'm not sure you have to produce a driver's license. Let me get a hold of my attorney first. And I even spoke to the gentleman here, and I said, let me call my attorney before we
Okay.
start producing driver's licenses
Okay,
and stuff.
fine.
And then I came back, and I hadn't signed the
The citation?
the citation. And I brought it back to this gentleman. I said, look, I didn't sign this. Do you need it signed? And I was, just being honest about it, and I signed it for him. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct. Yeah, there was some disorientation there, and
Right.
we waited a while, and eventually, when all the citations were issued,
I went to the building department. That's when they told me what was going on.
yeah, and that's when he actually came back and says he brought it to my attention. He actually never signed the citation. Mr. Yearwood signed, but Mr. Davin never did sign. So we.
What is the condition of the property now?
We finished the permit. The city inspector came out and inspected it and said everything was good. So we finished the driveway.
And what are you requesting of us?
Well, if I had known I needed a permit, which I went and got one the very next day, if they'd have called me back and said, yes, you need a permit, I went and ran down and got a permit.
But you did say that you were in the construction business, did you not?
Yes.
But you don't have a license here in Florida.
Right.
So would it be reasonable to suppose, since you're in a business in another state, that you need a license to do that?
Well, in Knoxville, if you're replacing existing as is or repairing, you don't necessarily need a permit.
But by your own admission, it turned into a complete rip out and do over. Am I correct?
What do you mean?
In other words, you started to repair, but
Right.
you decided to yank all of the concrete out and lay down.
Well, we put it back exactly like it was.
Yeah, but I'm saying you took out all the old concrete, put it wherever you put it in the pictures that I have seen, and then you replaced it with something brand new.
Right.
Correct. What I'm suggesting is if you are in the business, you know what the laws generally are in every state. If you're in the concrete business or construction, you need a license. Why didn't you get a license here?
You mean a permit?
No, didn't you say you were in the business,
Yes.
that business? Why did you not have a business license if you're going to do that type of work, is the question.
This is his own home.
Yes.
What's that?
Homeowner. It was his home.
My home.
But no, he said he lived there part-time. It was not his primary residence. I asked that question first.
Yeah, they said they brought that up down at the building department, and they read the laws and said even if he's just here part time, as long as he doesn't rent it out, it's okay to get the permit.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I don't know. That's why I was asking. That's why I called originally to ask: do I need a permit? Don't I need a permit? If I'm just replacing like it was. Some places they want you to get a permit on every little thing. Some places don't. I got a permit on the other everything else I did on the house too.
Did you pour any additional concrete than what you took out?
It may curved it a little bit larger.
Just a little bit, all within the city.
Yeah, it was just a
planning
little
and zoning
curve
approval
there because the
of
guy
the
asked us to do that, and he asked us to put some asphalt down by the edge.
Okay.
I have photos of before and after. I have satellite imagery of January 9th, 2015. There's very little change, if any, to the footprint.
Is that satisfactory to you? That particular issue, is that
Oh, yeah,
satisfactory?
to me, it's a
Okay.
non-issue
Okay.
for the amount of
All
work
right,
there.
thank you.
Do you want to hear that message from the inspector? I mean, all it does is prove that I did call to find out if I needed a permit, and when he called me back, I told him my address. You can see I talked for 3 minutes there.
If you want to play it, just if you
20
would,
minutes.
sir,
Yes.
if you would, just hold it up to the microphone
Okay,
so
let
it can
me-
get on the record.
Let me get it.
Have you been just coming down to Florida for the past 5 years or all of your life?
Just for the past 5 years.
Okay, so main residence is in Tennessee?
Well, I'm planning on moving here to Vero. I bought a lot at Ambersand. It's on the ocean and river front. And then while I was down this last time, I found another house that's right by the beach.
While he's plugging into that, could you explain the law to me in terms of the year's wait? There was something said about having to wait a year.
Oh, with the owner builder permit.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's Florida Statute 489.103, Section 7A, and actually the county ordinance mimics the language in that statute, but it has to do with it may not be built, and I'm reading down from the fourth paragraph. It may not be built or substantially improved for sale or lease. If you sell or lease the building, you have built or substantially improved it yourself within 1 year of the construction. After the construction is complete, the law will presume that you built or substantially improved it for sale or lease, which is a violation of the exemption.
Are you aware of that?
I was not, but would that fall under replacing a bad
Maintenance?
driveway?
Would that fall under maintenance? The
No,
driveway?
this would under any permit you pull for for any type of work on your property, you have to sign this owner builder affidavit if you're doing the work yourself, and you're not going to sub it out to a licensed contractor. So we have this owner builder disclosure statement that the individual has to sign, check that he has read the or initial actually sections 1 through 13, that he has understood the disclosure statement, and that is part of the disclosure statement. And that is part of the county ordinance, which references Florida Statute 489.
Okay, and what are your plans for this house?
Well, after I bought this other place, I actually put this on the market. And I didn't think, and I read that, but I thought that was if you substantially improve or change the building. I didn't think it had to do with, repairing a driveway or, a driveway that was just torn up real bad. I thought it meant on the building itself. And I did a lot of improvements on the building. And I got permits, but that was 5 years ago.
And Mr. Devon also had some other permits there that were already taken care of, filed for. I think it was for windows and some interior alteration,
garage
maybe.
doors and
Yeah, and that had already been completed just recently as well. So the driveway was one of the items that were not completed under any permit.
So has the permit issue itself been resolved to your satisfaction, or?
The permit is, to my knowledge, it hasn't been filed unless it was finalized either Friday or today. The last I checked was on the 9th, which was yesterday. I checked our database and it had not been finalized.
What do you mean by
For a final
finalized?
inspection.
The
Called in
inspection
for
was
a
on.
final inspection, yes, sir.
Oh, the city came out and did the inspection. I wasn't there, but they came out and did the inspection.
That may have been the city engineering, perhaps?
Yes.
That was for the
Or
right-of-way.
city, I don't know.
Yeah, that may have been for the right-of-way portion, but the county permit needs to be finalized. So we need to call the
okay.
building. You still have time, but we need
Okay.
to call the county for a final inspection on the actual concrete.
Yes, you have one more final inspection to do besides the city right away.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, only here you have to have 2 permits for a driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't understand that at all. But all right, let me play this if you want to hear it. I'll put the speaker on.
Returning the call.
Wait, let me.
Hi, this is the plans examiner of the day from Indian River County Building Department. Returning the call. Number's 226-1275. Thanks.
And that was December 29th, if you want to,
Plans examiner of the day.
if you want to see that. But that was the day before we started work, and I had left them an extensive message, and then I called back, and that's when they said that their phones weren't working after he stopped by. I went by.
Who was the plan examiner of the day on the 29th?
They told me it was Rick.
Graham?
That sounded like it may be Paul. I couldn't tell exactly. We have Carrie, Paul. It could be any one of the actual inspectors over there. George. I don't know of any Rick.
Well, maybe I
But
wrote it
maybe
down.
we may have heard the name wrong. You know?
Yeah, I may have.
But that is that is a return message clearly. So he did attempt to determine whether or not a permit was needed. And my understanding was from my conversation with Mr. Yearwood here that they had people coming in. They had family that was willing to help out with the driveway, and they went ahead and poured it regardless. So it was kind of I know that time was of the urgency on that matter too, and the concrete was already called in. So had they waited or at least communicated a little bit further, they would have found that a permit was needed for that driveway pour.
I'll make a motion. There were some miscommunications, and you did have to eat a truckload of concrete. So, and since the permit issue has been resolved, presumably, I would say the portion of the citation referring to the
Mr.
construction
Chairman,
without a permit. Can I finish?
I'm sorry. I wanted to help the motion.
That we uphold the unlicensed contracting part of the citation, but that the construction without a permit be done away with.
Okay.
I would like to amend it slightly in that he hasn't finalized this thing yet. Okay, so I agree with what you're saying, but I would like to put it after the fact so that he does complete the permitting process. We've done that in the past, I believe, in certain other cases.
I think he may have already got a slab inspection already. Or no, he just needs a final. That's right.
Right, that's what I'm talking
He just
about.
needs one more inspection.
After the final inspection, I don't have a problem with anything. I just don't want to leave it open-ended, yes, now, and then something else crops up. And so I'd like to make that addendum to the motion. Based
you
upon
need-
final inspection. Thank you, Herb.
Well, you need to vote on that amendment
Well, he can add.
I don't have the second.
unless you want to add it to your motion.
Agree to that.
I'll add that into my.
Had he finalized out all his windows and his interior partitions and his other stuff? Are those permits all canceled out and done, completed?
I will let you know in just a second.
I
To
had
see what if you're
I had a
complete.
licensed subcontractor come and do that work, and he told me they did the inspections. I wasn't here, but
They'd need to have a final and be closed out at the building department. Or I will stick with that amendment.
I mean, I'll call as soon as I walk out of here and ask for the final inspection.
Anybody want a second now?
I thought, you get the inspection from the city.
Yeah, it's kind of convoluted. The city doesn't have a building department, so the county
Right,
takes care of all that.
I knew that. And I thought, well, they have the right on driveways and stuff, right? So you have to get a
That's
permit
just the
there.
right of way, though.
Yeah.
Their right stops.
Oh, I see.
20 feet from the
Yeah.
edge
So
of
the building department.
pavement.
Okay.
35 feet from the center line.
Yeah, because he came out and inspected before we poured the edge and all that. And we did the roof and got that inspected. I don't know about finals, but they inspected in between.
Oh, they'll catch up to you if you didn't.
Pardon?
They'll catch up to you if you didn't do the finals.
Yeah.
They're very efficient.
Well, I know I get slapped harder than most people because I'm a contractor. I'm an architect and a contractor, and I'm licensed in every trade. You know,
Up in
electrical,
Tennessee, though.
plumbing, HVAC. Pardon?
Up in Tennessee, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a license down here, but
Thank you for hearing.
I'm not doing work down here.
Very good move.
Mr. Davin, it's 1602 32nd Avenue, right?
36th.
36.
If it's 1602, that must be right off 16th Street, in plain sight.
Right on the corner.
Right on the corner.
Yeah, I was like, you know, you're not going to get away with it.
Yeah,
You better go get a permit if you need
I
one.
can see you're not going. You wouldn't get away with it right there.
I'm having trouble logging into our database. Oh, there we go. Never mind.
I'll call and make sure they're all finalized. And if they're not, they can come and do a final inspection on everything at once. I think they are, but I don't know.
Our software in the field is not as good as the office one. Sometimes we have bugs. I can, if you like, I can go find out, make a call with it real quick and get an answer.
How
Maybe
important
3
is it?
minutes.
Could we restate the motion? Now,
To paraphrase, my motion was that we drop the construction without a permit and uphold the unlicensed contracting.
okay, so of the
So
$1,000
it'd be
fine, he's
500.
going to be assessed 500.
Correct.
For the one.
Assuming
And-
he gets his final inspection.
And with the caveat that he's to obtain his final inspection.
Yes.
On the driveway. Really, the other permits are not part of this case,
Right.
so.
Right.
Right. Okay. So I make a motion that we
There's a motion on
Yeah, we don't have the motion on the
okay.
floor.
We got to vote
second
first.
the motion.
Third it.
Yes, I'm seconding the motion.
Why don't you go ahead and make that call?
Go
ahead.
But that's the,
Oh, are we
not
good?
on this.
Yeah, we're
That
good.
has nothing to do
All
with
right,
this.
never mind.
I'm sorry.
We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Got to vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right, thank you. What about his, he got a
He's next.
fine also. Oh, okay.
Case 15-CE-1748, Jerry Yearwood.
Okay. My name is Jerry Yearwood, and the guy that works for him in Knoxville is my nephew, and that's his dad, and we came over just to help him. He, I'm not being disrespectful, my grandson's got cancer, and he's taking his last treatment, so I wear this when he's in the hospital. But he called me the day before, asked me could I come and break it out and haul it off. And he seen my truck, and that ain't something you just drive across the state. It's a semi-tractor, and I had a trailer to pull it. So it ain't something you just want to run around and haul. You can't haul it. You can haul something in a wheelbarrow. How fast is that? You know, it just ain't getting nothing done. We got done at 1:30 in the morning. You wouldn't have enough money to pay me to come over here to do it. I mean, you could have Trump bring a crew in and do it. But I just kind of helped him out because he's from Tennessee and he works for this gentleman. And when he called me, I said, I don't think I can make it. I'm working for a guy by the hour over in Brooksville, over in Tampa area. So I finally arranged it where I could make it, and I didn't know that until 10 o'clock at night. And I called him and said, hey, I'll be there in the morning. So I drove all night over here. It only goes 55 miles an hour. So when I got here at daylight, we'd talked about the permit a little bit, and he said they act like it it wasn't no big deal. He said, I've left messages, and it just kind of got into their deal. But I said, okay. So I started breaking it out, hauling it off. And it only a 6-yard trailer. So, it took till 1 o'clock in the morning to finally get it all done. And then I headed back home. And when that morning when I left, I lost my billfold at a station. I left it laying on the counter. So I done good there. And then the whole day was just
A real good day, wasn't it?
So I got back the next day at daylight, and then I said, I'm too tired to go to work. So it cost me 2 days of working, where I could have just stayed there and worked and made money. But I wasn't contracting. I was just helping my nephew, and I hung out with him for a day, and he wanted to see him. We just rode back and forth and dumped that and just kind of helped him because he don't know nobody down here to call. But they could have paid somebody $20,000, and they could have hauled it right here. It's a lot of work.
So you came over here at your own expense?
Yeah, I just came over to help him and hang out with him because he's from Knoxville. When I get off, I go up there and stay at his place, park my truck there and my toy hauler, and he lets me park there, and I go ride all I want and then come back. And, so I came over and gave him a hand. And that's all we were here for, is just to help. I didn't know him at all. And
you were only involved in the demolition part of the...
Yeah, I just broke out the concrete and hauled it off.
Okay.
And if you load that trailer too heavy in the front, you got to pick it out of there by hand. So it ain't stuff I like to do. And I wouldn't do it for money because there's too much.
I hear the gentleman, and he makes sense. And since there's already been a resolution prior, this would seem to be part of the same case. And I just think that this man should be let off the hook and let him go because he was helping. And sometimes people that help have a problem, but I don't think he should have a problem, really. And so I'm going to make a motion, if it's okay. I'd like to hear from the other board members, but I think the man's sincere and honest, and I think you should skate on this, to be honest with you. That's my motion.
The only thing I suggest, you need to hear from the officer first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If he has anything he wants to add.
I have no other comments to add.
I'm sorry for jumping the gun again. I'm really...
I second your
You're
motion.
learning.
I second your motion.
He moved that we dismiss the citation. And we have a second.
I second it.
Any discussion?
Herb seconded, yeah.
Anybody want to? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Have a great day.
And my grandson's doing pretty good. He's just about licked it, but he's got a bad chance of him coming back.
Okay.
And
What kind of cancer?
neoblastoma.
And how old is the boy?
2.
Oh, man.
13 months when he went to the hospital, went to the doctor, went to the hospital, went to the doctor for 2 or 3 months before they said it was allergies. So if you got allergies, have them check for cancer.
Yeah. Sorry.
Good luck.
Cancer
Very
by the time
sorry.
they found it. But he's knocking it out. He's a tough old
Okay.
guy.
Good luck to you, sir.
Have a safe trip back. Okay. Case 15-CE-1146, Francisco Flores.
This case came before the board, and they gave the owner time to complete a permit process. I'd like to report that the property is in compliance. Ask that the board find the property in compliance today.
That's all?
That's all.
I can do that.
Melody, when was it found in compliance? What's the date?
$121.
The violator had previously paid the $50 citation, and as the officer testified, you had ordered it corrected by today. And you're not asking for any other penalties or costs?
No.
I'll make a motion then that there was a violation and that the property's in compliance as of January 21st.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Brings us to 15-CE-6060 Venetian Apartments.
think 6060, is that what you said? Hold on. Where at?
Number Craig Van Pyle.
Okay, I got it. I'm looking for the...
Just a little background to remind everyone, the case came before the board. The violators were cited for constructions of railing in a second floor balcony without a permit at 2545 Indian River Boulevard. At the last hearing, the board gave the property until February 5th to come into compliance. There was a problem with Mr. Von Pyle getting his license straightened out with the state.
Yeah.
So he, I believe, has gotten that straightened out. The building department has been unable to accept a permit application because since it's an apartment building, the plans have to be engineered. So an engineer has been hired by Ms. Ergel, and the engineer is approximately 30 days out on drawing up plans. So back to you today.
Oh, and you said 30 days out? I didn't hear you.
Yes.
For what?
30 days. For plans to be drawn up so an application can be submitted for a permit.
Would it be in order to ask for...
Yeah, it's her turn to speak.
Okay.
Well, I have the letter here from my engineer.
I want to see it, if you don't mind.
Can we keep that, or at least? Okay, thank you.
I can have him email one to the building department.
Okay.
Ma'am, could you go ahead and give your name and address, please?
Yes, Kathy Ergel. You want my physical or P.O. Box? P.O. Box 6747, Vero Beach, Florida.
And were you sworn in?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
So basically, you need 30
More
more
time?
days.
Need an
extension. Probably 60 days if we're going to be realistic.
Well,
huh?
Thank you.
Is there something there up now
Yes.
for safety?
Oh, it's completely safe.
Okay,
It's completely.
good. Just want to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want any tenants or anything to fall off.
So if we could extend the time to the Friday before the 60
April.
days. Yeah.
Okay.
2 months.
Yeah, but the Friday before the April hearing.
I can give you the date.
So we're in February, March, April.
Be April.
That's a leap year, so she
The
gets a
April
bonus day.
13th would be the board's meeting in April. The Friday before will be April 8th.
So
And-
the board would be so kind as to extend the time until April 8th to allow them to complete the process.
The permitting process. It should be real close, I think.
30 days to get the.
Sure.
Yep.
Someone want to make a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
I'll second it.
You're spreading bad habits.
I keep.
around.
I try to keep the words to a minimum.
I need
No,
a
April 8th
motion.
is your.
Well, thank you.
I think the
We'll
motion
need a
is.
motion.
I think what he wanted to say was we'll move to table this until
Right.
April the 8th.
Right.
Well said. Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You got to have a little fun here, you know.
Good deal.
Case 15-CE-6145, Samuel W. and Kim High.
Case number 15CE-6145. I'm requesting a board order for a request for correction of the violation, citation payment, and continued penalties. The citation was written for $100. There's costs of $68.25 and continuing penalties of $100 daily. It's an overgrowth situation with a huge, large, dead, fallen tree on the lot. It's an empty lot. The case was initiated months ago. I was requested to extend it by an attorney for the estate. Since that time, I have not been in contact with the attorney. The number that I have is no longer good. Nothing has happened as far as correction. It is a repeat violation, previously cited on case number 13-CE 3973, which was heard on 11/13 of 2013. They have received service.
even deceased, we hear from Mr. High.
The date for correction on the citation was November 16th, so if the board's inclined to impose the continuing penalties, those would start November 17th of 2015.
So nothing's been done on this property? The tree's still laying there?
Correct. It's a huge tree. It was laying across the sidewalk. I was able to pull it back from the sidewalk, but it's still there.
Is that what the 6825 is for? You're pretty cheap.
It was a tough hour.
So you've tried to get a hold of Mr. High, and he's not...
Mr. High is deceased, but his daughter, Kim, is who we deal with generally. And I haven't been unsuccessful to get a hold of her.
Is there residence adjacent to this lot? Or
There's an apartment complex across from it and a extended care facility as well.
This is actually a property that was problematic over the years. In fact, the city actually demolished the house because it was damaged in the hurricanes in 04 and 05, and there's a lien already in place for that work.
Yeah, I remember.
He's not going to get anything for the property.
Probably not, but I can't go forward with the abatement process till we go forward with this process.
I'll make a motion for you. There is a violation. It's a repeat violation, and the violation continues today. And that the board issue an order of payment of the $100 civil penalty, the $68.25 cost of prosecution, and $100 per day continuing penalty commencing 11/17/2015.
And to correct the violation.
And to correct the violation, yes.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Sir, are you here for
I believe he's here for the next case.
Oh, it's the next case? Okay. Your wait is almost done. Oh, all right. Okay. We'll move to 15-CE-6246, Judith Trage.
Requesting a board order for 15 CE 6246. The violator, Judith Trage, was cited for public nuisance violations of a non-operable vehicles, weeds, grass, and undergrowth at a height of more than 12 inches and a dead tree in the backyard at 1030 27th Street. The citation issued 12/11/15 was returned, so the property was posted on 12/30/15. No request for a hearing on the citation has been received, so a hearing to contest the citation is void and waived, and the violation is deemed admitted by the violator. The violation of the non-operable vehicle has been corrected as of 12/30/15. The weeds, grass, or undergrowth has been corrected as of 1/27, but the dead tree remains as of today, and the civil penalty assessed on the citation has not been paid. City is not requesting enforcement costs, just asking for the initial penalty and continuing penalty for the days the property remains in violation.
It remains in violation.
And the date given for correction was December 28th, so those continuing penalties could start December 29th if the board so chooses.
Until January 27th?
It's still not in compliance, it's continuing
Oh,
penalties.
still not in compliance.
The dead tree's still in the backyard.
And the vehicle's still there?
No, that's complied.
It's just
The
the
vehicle
tree.
and the
correct?
weeds are gone, but
It's been cut,
but the tree is still there.
correct.
But it's still just $50. Or is this three separate violations at $50
Nope, it's
each?
just $50.
Okay.
Yeah, basically all the violations have been corrected except for the tree. So that would be part of the order, the motion.
Anyone?
Now, it's a dead tree. Do they need a tree permit to get rid of it?
They do.
Till it falls down, then they don't anymore.
It's fallen down, right?
Yeah, the house has issues. We've asked building department to declare the house as an unsafe structure,
have
so
to
they're
ask,
pursuing a case as well. There's some property issues.
So he will need a permit to pull the tree out.
The man who lives in the house was advised of that. The owner has an out-of-state address which did not take service of the citation. Someone locally collects rent, so a citation was posted and asked to notify him of the violations and have had no contact from him.
Get her to talk.
Okay.
Well, it seems to me that this person is being very uncooperative, and therefore we have to go to the max in meting out a penalty. It's just the tree now, and is that $50 a day?
Correct.
Starting when?
The 29th, Wayne?
Yeah.
December
Melody,
29th.
Okay.
Melody, will you speak closer into the mic so the board can hear you, please?
Yes.
Well, inasmuch as I said, the person has been incommunicado / uncooperative, perhaps, I make a motion that we commence fining at $50 a day until this is cleared up.
We need to add the original civil penalty in there as well.
I have a question for
And the original civil penalty.
Violation and
Okay. Civil penalty of $50 and.
Since December 29th.
Yeah, since December 29th.
I have a question for the officer. There's an asterisk after this person's name. Does that have any significance? And my second question is, have you been in contact with this woman locally, or is she in Illinois? All these
So
addresses.
usually the asterisk is designating something that's through the property appraiser, and that means like a trustee or something. That's through the property appraiser that we have no control over what the asterisk means. As I said, the citation was not claimed. It was returned unclaimed. So the property was posted, and that was
So
when...
you've never been in contact with this person?
Not Judith Trage. There is a local gentleman who collects rent, according to the people in the house. And when the citation was posted, it was said, please tell him that this citation needs to be acted upon. And there has been no contact.
Is the house occupied?
Yes, it is.
So there's, tenants in there?
There's people there.
I believe I know this woman. Her husband is a realtor, and they did have other rental properties around town.
I believe that this would be his mother, the one that you're referring to, who's the auctioneer.
Yes. This is his mother?
I believe there's a connection. I did some online research and linked his name to her name through Attorney Fromang and called him asking for a good address for Judith Trage, and he said he had no way of providing that.
So we don't know if she's here or she's someplace else or she's even alive? It's his mother?
I believe so, just looking around online, but she is the owner according to the property appraiser.
Well, you have a motion.
I guess she's a straw owner.
I'll need that motion repeated.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other the violations except for the tree have been corrected. We need to get that on.
In the motion.
Okay.
I have a question. Who took the grass down and all the other?
The gentleman who stays in the front of the house.
The renter or whomever?
Was he also responsible for was there an automobile as well?
That belonged to someone else.
But it was removed.
Correct.
So we can assume that someone has communicated that there's an issue to someone?
I have communicated with the benefit of an officer with me of what the violations are.
To the resident?
To many residents.
How many residents?
Many residents?
There's a couple of different residents.
This is a house, a single-family house? A couple of residents.
Mr. Attorney, I have a question. The fact that this is sent certified mail, is that sufficient to prove that notice was served?
No.
No.
What happens is when certified mail comes back unclaimed or undeliverable, that's why the officer then posts the property. The officer also sends it regular mail.
Okay.
And does an affidavit of posting that goes in the record, and that is sufficient notice.
That's my follow-up question. Did you get a return from the...
No, as I stated, the citation that was issued 12/11 was returned, so the property was posted on 12/30.
But you did send certified and you did send regular?
Right.
But did the regular come back?
No.
Okay, so they got it then. That's my point.
Well, that's the presumption, and it's because owners are required to have a proper address with the property appraiser. Otherwise, how do you get your tax bill and pay your taxes. And so that's why, whether it's under Chapter 162 Florida statutes or under our local code, once that certified mail comes back unclaimed or undeliverable, the property can be posted, and that's presumed to be good notice.
But also, as she said, the regular letter did not come back, so I'm assuming that they got it. So we have them two ways, posting and regular mail.
Right.
Therefore,
And the taxes are up to date, that you know? I mean, they have a good address for sending the tax bill.
I'm assuming the tax bill goes to the property appraiser address listed in Illinois.
Of course, one of the problems is a lot of people have mortgages, and the tax bill just goes to the mortgage company and it gets paid. So that's always not a good indicator either.
Probably sent to the rental outfit.
Well, I will restate the motion, if that's okay with you.
You can do it. You can do it.
There were 3 violations on this property: a derelict vehicle, weeds and undergrowth over 12 inches, and a dead tree. The vehicle and the weeds have been brought into compliance, and the dead tree in the backyard remains. So the board will issue an order for payment of the original $50 civil penalty, correction of the dead tree violation, and payment of a continuing penalty of $50 a day.
I'll second that motion.
You can't second your own motion.
No, but you just made it. We had a redo.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. 15-CE-6227, David Milner.
Case number 0851T, 15-CE6227, David Milner. It's a citation for $50 written for operating a business without a business tax receipt within the city of Vero Beach, code number 70-62. A warning citation was sent. A citation with penalty was sent once that was not adhered to. That was mailed on 11/30. It was a complaint we received, let me back up a second, through an anonymous email to the city email site and service. Mr. Milner has since received his BTR, his business tax receipt. However, the citation remains unpaid, and I believe he's contesting the business at this point.
Yeah, David Milner, 726 Hibiscus Lane, Vero Beach, Florida. What entity are you citing here?
There's 2 entities at the place. I am citing the David Milner Group.
Oh, okay. Not the other one. The one I got was for SIM, for another company that I don't.
Yeah, I saw that as well. Strategic Image.
Yeah, there's nothing there. Okay, so.
The David Milner Group.
Yes, Gilly. Okay.
We're good?
I didn't know that, so good. Okay, well then it makes sense. So I'll pay what needs to be paid, and I do have a permit now or whatever I needed. So
that was easy. Well, I'll make a motion then that the board issue an order for payment of the $50 civil penalty.
Okay, is that it? Now pay it now or
no? You'll get it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
Very
you.
interesting, by the way. Very good. Thanks.
You picked a good day.
If you didn't get an affidavit of cost.
Tom, there's no cost on that, right?
Correct.
Thank you.
Case 15-CE-6276, Titone Properties.
Titone Properties, Mark Titone. Case number 0871T, 15CE6276, was cited for excessive trash and debris within his property. He was issued a citation for $50. He's accrued costs of $62.03, and I'm requesting continuing penalties. It's a significant amount of trash thrown all about the property. He owns a number of properties, probably 50 here in the city, and this is one that he just kind of seemed to have let go, but nothing has been done to correct the violation.
Since what date?
Starting way back on 12/29. I did send it certified. It did
Actually,
come back.
I see 128. of 16 on this citation. Where's that?
Well, that's for the citation for the penalty. I started with a warning way back.
Yeah, but the penalties don't go back to the warning.
Correct.
Yeah. The correction date on the citation was January 28th of 16.
Right, so the penalties would start on January
29th, right.
Again, I did send it certified. It did come back. I did, in fact, post the property and fill out an affidavit to that effect. So I was out there yesterday. There's been no change.
Okay.
How long do we have to put up with this? I know we're going to keep, if so the board deems fit, but is there a limit where we say enough is enough and we pull up some trucks and clean it up and charge them?
Yes.
What is that time frame? When does that kick in?
Not so much time frame as is once the neighbors have complained enough. I don't know how to say that politically correct, but that's really the truth.
That was pretty good.
There is no time frame. So we will do it. We will assess the fees to him. Ultimately, end up leaning the property for those fees, but it takes a while to get there. We're in the process now of giving consideration to some codes to bringing them to the city that would help us in this problem. And hopefully those are going forward. We're in meetings about them now. So
That'd be good.
Well, I move that there is a violation and that the violation continues, and the board issue an order to correct the violation, to pay the $50 civil penalty, the $62.03 cost of prosecution, and continuing penalties of $50 a day commencing January 29th, 2016.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
last case line as well, 0864T 15-CE 3315, Andrew Zaleski, requesting a board order, request for citation payments and compliance with the citation. Again, this is a business tax receipt. He owns a company, ABC Taxi Company. He parks his vehicles at his home. He has not received, he has had in years past, business tax receipt. For whatever reason, he has not applied or received it this year. And he was issued a citation for that reason.
Is he still operating his business? Or?
Presumably. The vehicles are still there. I still see him driving around.
And have you been in contact with him?
I ended up having to post this property as well.
Really? Huh.
Yikes.
Every year, it seems that there's he generally runs late in paying for his citation, but he ultimately gets it. This year, not so much so. I'm not sure why the change. But I have knocked on the door, I have left my business card, and I did post the property, and it was taken in with an hour of my posting it, so.
I have a question for you. The second part, parking and signage of vehicles prohibited. Could you explain what the law is on that to me?
Yeah, there's a code with the signage of the vehicles, commercial vehicles in a residential property.
Gotcha.
And he's actually adhered with that part of it. I saw that now that his vehicles are parked in his drive, that he takes the magnets off.
Okay.
But he still hasn't received his
Okay.
PTR.
I wasn't sure what kind of signage we were talking about.
Magnets.
So if he got his occupational permit, he could have the signage?
No, he can never have
He
the signage.
still take them off?
Yes. Yeah, the home occupation is for managerial type work. It's not supposed to be used as a dispatch center and or,
So the permit he'd be applying for would be for the taxi service or the management company? Do we know?
No, it'd be for the taxi
Basically, it's your
service.
business tax.
But he's applying for a license to do the management of that business from his home. That makes sense.
Management of
A home occupation can't show any outward manifestations of having a business. No. Melody. signage, no- Please.
Okay.
Well, I move that the board issue an order for payment of the civil penalty of $50.
He's posted.
And request that he come into compliance by receiving his
Okay, and
business tax
that,
receipt.
and that he apply for and obtain his city business tax.
Are you requesting the continuing penalties?
No.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Any other business? All right. Meeting adjourned.
1 hour.